hear you. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Welcome, everyone, including those joining us online, to Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor. My name is Judy, and I am your host today, and Reverend David is my co-host.
You know, whatever your faith background, race or gender, sexual orientation, age, or ability, you are welcome here. And we do come together to encourage and to support one another in our individual spiritual journeys. So wherever you are in that process, we're glad that you joined us today.
Our music team today is made up of Mike Karloff and Angelica Shaka. And we're so happy to have you with us.
And we're glad to have Judy with us doing the platforming as well. Always good to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and, as we always do, let's prepare ourselves for this day by opening in prayer. So I do invite you right now to just relax in your seat and bring your attention completely, totally, fully to this present moment. And as we allow ourselves to just rest in this present moment, we find that there is peace here. Infinite peace at the very core of our being. As we let our thoughts just settle down, we find peace, that peace beyond understanding. So we tap into that, and we allow ourselves to just feel the presence of Spirit. We allow ourselves to feel at rest and so calm and connected, not only to Spirit, but to all of life. So as we just sit here in our seats and open our hearts and open our minds to the presence of Spirit and to the love that is in this building, we just soak it all in, and we feel grateful. Grateful for this day. Grateful for this country. Grateful for this spiritual center that we meet together in. We are just grateful for everything, and in this attitude of gratitude, we say to ourselves, and out loud if you wish, thank you. And so it is. Amen.
Our prayer chaplain today is not Monica, but is Tim. Hi, Tim. There he is. And Tim will be available for prayer in the prayer room upstairs directly after the service.
Okay, and we do have a prayer box right up here up front. So if any of you have a prayer request, either for yourself or for someone else, please take one of these slips, write down what the prayer request is, and our prayer chaplain team will be praying with you. And so we just want you to know that.
And also, we have prayer support 24/7 online with Silent Unity. So the phone number is shown on the screen is 816-969-2000.
And now it's time for some music. So everyone can stand.
So we were joking, Angelica and I, today that today's music is brought to you by Karen Drucker. All the songs today are Karen Drucker songs, and some of them are new. You may know them from listening to Karen Drucker on your own time, but they are new here for many of us probably. So today I choose.
What do I want my day to be? I choose. What do I want to feel today? I choose. What do I want to be today? I choose. I choose. I choose. I choose. Today, I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today, I choose to be grateful, grateful. Today, I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today, I choose to be grateful, grateful. Today, I choose Whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. Claim what I want, 'cause it's all up to me. Today, I choose to be loving, so loving. Today, I choose to be loving, loving. Today, I choose to be joyful, so joyful. Today, I choose to be joyful, joyful. Whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. Claim what I want, 'cause it's all up to me. Today, 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 I choose to be thankful, so thankful. Today, I choose to be thankful, thankful. Today, I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today, I choose to be grateful, grateful. One more time. Today, I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today, I choose to be grateful, grateful. To be grateful, grateful. To be grateful, grateful. To be grateful, grateful. Thank you.
And our second song, we'll slow it down with You Are the Face of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Thank you. And you may be seated.
Thank you very much. Just beautiful. Beautiful. It's time for our core values. Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor is a progressive spiritual community that emphasizes personal growth, living consciously, and making a positive difference in the world. As part of New Thought and the worldwide unity movement, we strive to be compassionate, inclusive, open-minded, service-oriented, abundant, and spirit-filled.
Unity teaches that each person is a unique individual expression of God. Our realization of that truth evolves as we expand our consciousness through prayer and meditation. Unity emphasizes that we create our experience of life according to the thoughts and the feelings that we hold in our mind. Affirmative prayer is the highest form of creative thought, while meditation stills the mind and heightens our awareness of our oneness with Spirit, with each other, and with all of life. Living from that awareness transforms both us and our world.
We have a monthly affirmation, and our affirmation for June is, Christ within me gives me the gift of light. I accept and follow the guidance that comes from within. Will you please affirm this with me?
Christ within me gives me the gift of light. I accept and follow the guidance that comes from within.
And so it is. Amen.
Now some special music.
What do you want? Where do you want to go? You'll get what you want if you act as if you know. It starts with you. Do you believe it? It's all in the way that you choose to see it when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 do. When you feel lost and you can't find your way, your eye on the prize, it will materialize. You can't miss, change your perception, leading you to a new direction. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 do. Take it away, Mike. Change, change. You can do it. Change, change. It's a sure thing. Change, change. Expect a miracle. Change. Watch me change when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 change. Do 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 do.
Woo!
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Angelica and Mike. That was fun. You know, we're so fortunate to have such a wonderful music group. I mean, we really are. Thank you so much. Yeah. Well, welcome everyone, and welcome to those of us of you out there joining us online. You know, I always enjoy opening with something that's funny. If I find something, sometimes I don't. I have trouble finding them sometimes. But today I found a really good one because it's about Texas. And if and for those of you that may not know, I am from Texas. And for those of you who, well, like I said, if you didn't know, and you now know that I'm from Texas, you say, oh, that's why he sounds like that. So, so I like this joke because I get to use my real Texas voice. So a cowboy rode into town and stopped at a saloon for a drink. Unfortunately, the locals always had a habit of picking on strangers, which he was. So when he finished his drink, he went outside and found that his horse had been stolen. So he went back into the bar, and he flipped his gun up in the air and caught it without even looking and shot a round in the ceiling. And and then he said, "Which one of you sidewinders stole my horse?" He just yelled that out. And no one answered, okay? So, he says, all right, I'm going to have another beer, and if my horse ain't back here by the time I finish, I'm going to do what I done in Texas, and I don't like to have to do what I done in Texas. Boy, I tell you, it was quiet all over that bar. I mean, the locals were getting really, really fidgety and uncomfortable. So the man, true to his word, had another beer, walked outside, and his horse had been returned to the post. So he saddled up and started to ride out of town. Well, the bartender wandered out of the bar and asked, "Say, partner, before you go, what happened in Texas?" The cowboy turned back and said, "I had to walk home." Glad you enjoyed that. Okay, so this spring, for the next probably month or two, we are exploring Dr. Wayne Dyer's book, Your Sacred Self, Making the Decision to Be Free. Now, I don't know if y'all know much about Wayne Dyer, but I didn't really know that he was actually born in Detroit. And that was something that I found out about. And he got his degree at Wayne State. He became a guidance counselor. He got his doctorate of education in guidance and counseling. He ending up in St. John's University in New York, where he was a counselor, a professor of counseling and education. There he was approached. He was a very popular teacher, and he was approached by an agent, a literary agent, and wanting him to put his talks and his ideas into a book. So he ended up writing a book, and it was called Your Erroneous Zone. And that was in 1976. That book became a bestseller. He sold over 100 million copies. I mean, that's a lot of books, 100 million. Anyway, it launched his career, and he became a motivational speaker, talked all over. He was a friend of unity, and he frequently did workshops and spoke at Renaissance Unity, which is where I came from before I came here. And so he was a real friend of unity. His thoughts and everything are very much in alignment with our unity principles. He was a frequent guest on Oprah Winfrey's show, by the way, as well. You might have seen him on that. So for Dr. Dyer, and those of us in unity, getting to know your sacred self, your true self, your spiritual self, is a sacred quest. And it's a life challenge. And in order to know your sacred self, you must be aware of and transcend the old belief system that you've adopted. For Dr. Dyer, the most important insight that you can have is to realize that you have been facing the wrong direction for the better part of your life. He says, for our whole life, we have been taught to look outside of ourselves for sustenance, to look beyond ourselves out there for a position of power, to look for love in some partner or some soulmate out there, to look prosperity from some job or career or lucky break out there, to look for happiness from some event or a person or thing out there, or to look for health out there or in some diet or workout routine, or to look for spiritual fulfillment from some God out there. Many or most of us have been conditioned to believe that we get our life's bounty from out there, from outside of ourselves. And of course, for so many of us, we were taught that the ultimate, destination and goal for us was to go, and our perfect goal was to get to heaven, that perfect place up there with the pearly gates and the golden streets, the streets of gold. And we would get there, that would be the goal, and of course we would get there after we died, okay? And if we lived right and if we followed all the rules. So most of us grew up believing that we are our bodies, that we carry around with us. We're the roles that we play, the job we perform, the religion that we practice. And our lives are involved with externals. And at the same time, we see that all of these externals out here are always changing. They're always shifting. They're coming and they're going and they're appearing and they're disappearing. But at the same time, we are aware that somehow there is something within us, an inner self, that really never changes. And Dr. Dyer says that the key to our spiritual growth and any hope of eventual enlightenment is to shift the focus of our attention from the outside of us to that which is within us. It is a change in our belief system where we stop looking out at life through the eyes of our ego, our false self, and its belief that we are separate and distinct from everyone else, and instead to look out at life through the eyes of Christ, that part within us that knows the truth of who we are, that knows that we are one with Spirit, each other and all of life. So it's a change in perspective, a change in perspective from seeing ourselves as human beings having a spiritual experience to changing to the perspective that truly what we are is spiritual beings having a human experience. So the truth of the matter is that whether you know it or not, if you are here today in person or watching us online, you are on that sacred quest that Dyer is talking about. Within each of us, there's a deep inner knowing within each and every one of it. There is so much more to life, and there has to be a better way. And as I mentioned in an earlier talk, it seems that most of our spiritual journey has three basic stages: and breakdown, breakthrough, and integration. And I just mentioned this as sort of just to review what I talked about in a recent talk. So the breakdown, this is exactly what it sounds like, okay? It can be brutal, okay? It can throw you for a loop. So the first stage of a spiritual journey for many of us is that we have everything just goes to hell in a handbasket, okay? A loved one dies, or your marriage falls apart. And like when I went over this the first time, it's my case. When I finally had sort of a breakdown and actually started looking, for some spiritual comfort, I was going through one of the worst times of my life. I was going through a time when I had just broken up with a 12-year relationship. The economy had just dumped, and I was in real estate, and I was losing all of my money. I was on the verge of bankruptcy,
And I mean, and I began to really look, I mean, within and, what's going on? What can I do? And so the second part is usually when we have that breakdown, we then, somehow we become aware, we have an aha moment that allows you, that puts you in a place where you can grow from, and where you can grow and evolve in consciousness. And we can begin to recognize and tap into that higher power that is within each and every one of us. And some call that God. We realize that there is something more. We see the bigger picture. So the breakdown, it's definitely not fun, okay? But at the same time, it's with the breakthrough, you understand it. It becomes the catalyst that can help you move forward. It might feel like a divine intervention. Sometimes it's just an understanding of how things in your life have unfolded the way that they did. And it's the idea that everything that happened to you has to move, it was there for you to move you forward to where you needed to be. It's that feeling. And then the third step is the integration part. And the third step is actually where I think all of us are right now. Most of us here. The third stage of a spiritual journey is the integration, and that's where the real work begins. And this is where most of us, like I said, are. Just because you have had a breakthrough and are now maybe awake and aware of everything, it doesn't mean that all of your problems are solved. It doesn't mean that they've all gone away. This is where we learn and put our various spiritual practices to work in our lives. Self-inquiry is one of the tools that we use. Self-inquiry involves a willingness to courageously challenge our beliefs, convictions, perceptions, and of what is true in order for us to grow. So self-inquiry presupposes that we don't see the world as it is, but we see the world as we are. Self-inquiry involves taking responsibility for our beliefs, our choices, our perceptions, rather than blaming others or the world. It involves a willingness to question ourselves when challenged or threatened, rather than immediately defending ourselves. So when you talk about a spiritual path, anyone can have a direct experience. But if you don't work at integrating that direct experience of the holy, you just had a moment. That's all you've had is just one moment. But nothing has really shifted. So if you have that breakthrough, then we have to take that breakthrough and integrate it into ourselves. And for the founders of Unity and for us here at Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor, that shift, that change in perspective, it's absolutely crucial for us to grow and to move forward. As Charles Fillmore, one of our co-founders, wrote, he said, "The realization that man is a spiritual being is the highest point of consciousness. Man never realizes what he is until he knows within himself that he is spiritual." Fillmore said, "This is the resurrection, a conscious knowledge that I am a spiritual being and that all things in essence are spiritual. We live in a spiritual universe." So I repeat what I said earlier. In order to know your sacred self, you must be aware of and transcend the old belief system that you have adopted. So Dr. Dyer says, your personal history is replete with beliefs. These beliefs are at the core of your understanding of what it is that constitutes your reality. You have used them to explain why your life has taken the course that it has. In a previous message, I talked about how we are taught from the moment that we are born into this world. We are taught by our parents, our siblings, our our schools, our churches, our culture, our race, we are taught how to believe and what to believe. In many ways, we're indoctrinated. We're programmed from the moment that we were born. And unfortunately, most of the beliefs that we have about ourselves, they just aren't true. And they live in our subconscious mind. I was just reading an article by Gail Mara, and she's a clinical hypnotherapist. And she wrote an article called 9 Interesting Facts About the Subconscious. And so she points out that today's science estimates that 95% of our brain's activity is unconscious. 95%. Meaning that the majority of the decisions that we make, the actions that we take, our emotions and behaviors depend on that 95% of brain activity that lies beyond conscious awareness. So the subconscious mind is like a computer processor, and it's much more powerful than our conscious mind. And it can produce process huge quantities of information via our 5 senses and translate them back to us in the blink of an eye. It contains all of our fears, all of our desires, our memories, and our beliefs. And the great majority of all of this, we're totally unaware of it. So it's interesting that the subconscious mind, another fact about it is that it takes everything literally. The subconscious mind has a habit of taking everything literally. It does not differentiate between negative and positive. So if you continually tell yourself that you'll never succeed in a particular venture, it's likely to turn out just that way. You will not succeed. You know, the subconscious mind is subjective. It doesn't think or reason independently. It simply obeys the commands that it receives from our conscious mind. You know, one of my favorite quotes is from Henry Ford, who said, "Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way you're right. Depends on your thinking." So I want to go back to Dr. Dyer's statement. In order to know your sacred self, you must be aware of and transcend the old belief system that you've adopted. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Recently, I came across a book called Atomic Habits. And this is by James Clear. And he's an author, he's a writer. His book, Atomic Habits, was also a New York Times bestseller. He's a very popular speaker, motivational speaker that's spoken all over the world. And the basic idea of this book is that the beliefs that you have about yourself can drive your long-term behavior. Okay, maybe you can trick, he says, maybe you can trick yourself into going to the gym or eating healthy once, but if you don't shift your underlying identity, then it's hard to stick with long-term change. So for James, the root of behavior change and building better habits is your identity. Each action you perform is driven by the fundamental belief that it is possible. So if you change your identity, the type of person that you believe that you are, then it's easier to change your actions. So this brings us to an important question. How exactly is your identity how exactly is your identity formed? And how can you emphasize new aspects of your identity that you serve, that serve you, and gradually erase the pieces that hinder you? So how do you change your beliefs? What James is saying is that we can change our beliefs. So he says your identity emerges out of your habits. This reminds me of Jesus' quote when he said, "By their fruits you will know them. By our habits you will know a person." So if we already pointed out, you are not born with preset beliefs. Every belief, including those about yourself, is learned each day and conditioned through experience. So more precisely, your habits are how you embody your identity. When you make your bed each day, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you write each day, you embody the identity of a creative person. When you train each day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. So the more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. So in fact, the word identity was originally derived from two Latin words, essentitas, or essence, which means being, and identidum, which means repeatedly. So your identity is literally your repeated beingness. So whatever your identity is right now, you only believe it because you have proof of it. If you go to church every Sunday for 20 years, you have evidence that you're religious. If you study biology 1 hour every night, you have evidence that you're studious. If you go to the gym, even when it's snowing, you have evidence that you are committed to fitness. So the more evidence that you have for a belief, the more strongly you will believe it. Of course, your habits are not only the only actions that influence your identity, but by virtue of their frequency, they are usually the most important ones. So each experience in life modifies your self-image, but if it's unlikely you would consider yourself a soccer player just because you kick the ball around, or it's unlikely that you would consider yourself an artist just because you could scribble a picture every once in a while. But as you repeat these actions, the evidence accumulates, okay? And your self-image begins to change. Your habits contribute most of the evidence that shapes your identity. So in this way, the process of building habits is actually the process of becoming yourself, becoming the person who you are. So this is a gradual evolution, and we don't change by snapping our fingers and deciding to be someone entirely different. We change bit by bit, day by day, habit by habit. James says we're constantly undergoing micro-evolutions of the self. I like that, micro-evolutions of the self. So every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. So no single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. James says that this is one reason why meaningful change does not require radical change. So small habits can make a meaningful difference by providing evidence of a new identity. And if a change is meaningful, it is actually big. That's the paradox of making small improvements. So putting this all together, you can see that habits are the path of changing your identity. The most practical way to change who you are is to change what you do. So each habit not only gets results, but also teaches you something far more important: to trust yourself. You start to believe you can actually accomplish these things. And when the votes mount up and the evidence begins to change, the story you tell yourself also changes. So each action becomes a small vote that tells your mind, hey, I believe this about myself. And you know, at some point you will believe it. New identities require new evidence. If you keep casting the same vote you always cast, you're going to get the same results that you've always had. I mean, if nothing changes, nothing is going to change. So the key to building lasting habits is focusing on creating a new identity first. Your current behaviors are simply a reflection of your current identity. So what you do now is a mirror image of the type of person that you believe that you are, either consciously or unconsciously. So to change your behavior for good, you need to start believing new things about yourself. You need to build identity-based habits. So the first layer, and there are 3 different layers of outcome. The first layer is like I said, changing your outcomes. And this level is concerned with changing your results, losing weight, publishing a book, winning a championship. Most of the goals that you set are associated with this level of change. And the second layer is changing your process. This level is concerned with changing your habits and systems, implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering your desk for better workflow, developing a meditation practice. Most of the habits that you build are associated with this level. But the third and the deepest layer is changing your identity. And this level is concerned with changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgments about yourself and others. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases that you are holding are associated with this level. So outcomes are about what you get, and processes are about what you do. And identity is about what you believe. So when it comes to building habits that last, the problem is not that one level is better or wrong than another. All levels of change are useful in their own way. The problem is the direction of change. Many people begin the process of changing their habits by focusing on what they want to achieve. This leads to an outcome-based habit. The alternative is to build identity-based habits. With this approach, we start by focusing on who we wish to become. So James says that changing your beliefs isn't nearly as hard as you might think. There are 2 steps. Decide the type of person you want to be, and then prove it to yourself with small wins, small steps that you can do. So first, decide who you want to be. This holds at any level, as an individual, as a team, as a community, as a nation. What do you want to stand for? What are your principles and your values? What do you wish to become? So these are big questions, and many people aren't sure where to begin. So again, these are big questions, and many people aren't sure where they want to begin. But what they do know is what results they want. And that's fine. Start there and work backwards from the results you want to the type of person who could get those results. So ask yourself, who is the type of person that could get the outcome that I want? James says if you're looking to make a change, then stop worrying about results and start worrying about your identity. Become the type of person who can achieve the things that you want to achieve. Build identity-based habits now, and the results can come later. You know, when I read this recently about the habits and how he's talking about change, it ties in so beautifully with our unity principles and our teachings here in Unity. You know, the thing is are we human beings having a spiritual experience, or are we spiritual beings having a human experience? And it depends on which perspective that we are looking from as to how we're going to go about and live our life. You know, so we here in Unity, we have a wonderful example of who to follow. We follow the teachings of Jesus, his teachings. That's why we consider ourselves Christian. We follow his teachings. And what were his teachings? He forgave people. He loved people. That's what he taught, to love, to forgive, to be of service. And we also here, we have our core values, which are many of the core values that Jesus himself had. And these core values are our guide. If we actually put these core values into work, then we become the people that we want to become, as we become people of service and actually do service, as we become and allow ourselves to be spirit-filled, as we allow ourselves to be compassionate, as we allow ourselves to be inclusive and open-minded. When we take our core values to heart and do what those core values require, we become the people we want to be. So, I hope that was of not too much information for you, but I really did enjoy tying what James Clear was saying into our unity principles and seeing the connection there. And you know, I can't help but remember Mother Teresa, who said, we are not here to do, God doesn't ask us to do great things. He asks us to do many small things with great love. And that is what we are here to do at Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor. We are here to be the love in the world, to be the light in the world, and to realize that that is ours to do. And we are blessed by it. So a little bit of homework. If you're interested in knowing more about James Clear, it's jamesclear.com, okay? And he has a newsletter. You can go online. You can read one of his chapters of his book free. But he has a newsletter with some really great articles on creating better habits to live by. And so that would be our, and there's two of them. He has a 2-minute rule and also the Seinfeld strategy to maintain consistency. These are articles that I read. They were really great. Just little things you can do to be the best person you can be. So thank you very much. So let's have a little bit of music as we prepare for a meditation. And you can sing along if you like, if we...
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
So we're not going to do questions like we normally do because I went over time.
You answered all our questions. Reverend David, I'd like to thank you for your enthusiastic talk today about change. You know, you don't have to hit rock bottom or anything to come to Unity. I came to Unity 22 years ago. My hospice patient had died. I'm just a hospice volunteer, but she had died, and she was very dedicated to her church. And her church really didn't do anything for her at all. So, and then I was a little disillusioned. I was not really happy where I was going. It was okay, but you know, so I was at a crossroads, I guess. And so I came into Unity one day, and Unity is an inside job.
Yes, it is.
And you realize that when you come, because you know there's not all this pomp and circumstance up front, but you know it kind of moves through you. And it moved through me that day. I've been coming for 22 years, and my life is not the same now as when I came. My relationships are better, my work became better, my marriage became better, everything became better because I did the work. And so, you know, I see the world differently now. And that's what I want to say about if you want to make a change, this is the place to do it. And I want to thank the music team so much. What I wrote down here was one of the best things about this center is the music. It's always great. Today, super upbeat. Really, it's really, really wonderful. So thank you. So now it's time for our vision, mission, and statement of being. And first we begin with our vision, which we have a global vision here. Will you speak it with me, please? Our vision is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening.
And we have a sacred mission. Will you say it with me? We inspire and empower spiritual growth to awaken us and transform the world.
And we have a personal statement of being. Please say this together. I am a dynamic center of the Christ light, mighty to unfold my good and radiate that good to all.
We do have a few announcements to let you know about, but do check your weekly newsletter. There's so much in there right now. We've got lots going on, especially a lot of spirit groups. So please check out the newsletter. Or you can also check us out on our website because we have all that information on our website as well. If you don't have a computer, then do pair up with someone that does, and maybe keep in contact with them, and help people out that don't have a computer because they need to know what's going on too. Okay.
Please join us next Sunday, June 12th. Our speaker again, Reverend David, and your talk title is The 4 Keys to Higher Awareness. Key number 1, banish the doubt.
Also, next Sunday, Mariette is doing her class again. She's doing 4 classes, and that we've had 2. We're having a 3rd one this coming next, or is it today? It's actually today, I believe. Yeah, it's today. Yeah, so she'll be here today. Okay, she'll be here today. She is postponing the one that was going to be next week. But today she will be up here at 12 o'clock to do her class. I hear it's a great class, so I'll encourage you to stay around for her class.
And bingo is back at All-Star Gaming Center on Walker Road in community partnership with Unity Spiritual Center. Bingo sessions times are daily, 11:45 a.m. and 2 p.m. And the game room is open daily as well. So we go there and we help out, and then we get a little bit of money for it.
That's right. Actually, we're getting a good a bit of money from that. We help them with their charity work, and and it's not that much work that we do. And so we do need volunteers, okay, to go to the bingo games on certain times. We have certain time slots that we need to fill, and so it's real easy to do. It's just sort of being there, and so if you can do that, please get a hold of either me or Donna the next time you see her, and we'll set you up with the training. It's all online, so as far as the training is concerned. But yes, we could use some help there.
I'd like to remind you again that Tim is our prayer chaplain today, and you'll be upstairs, Tim, in the prayer room, ready for prayer.
And then also, please join us for fellowship and conversation upstairs. I'm sure we have leftovers from we had a wonderful workshop yesterday. Thank you for all of you who were here. We had a workshop on looking forward to our future and planning and getting volunteers, and it was an all-day workshop, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I got a lot of good feedback, so thank you for all of those that were here that helped out, and anyway, it's great. So we had food, so in other words, we probably have leftovers up there. So we'll have more food than usual if you come upstairs and join us for hospitality.
All of our classes, programs, and services are made possible by your generous donations. Our heartfelt thanks for your continued support. We've created many easy ways to donate, which you can find on our website. For those of you here today at our live service, for safety concerns, we will not be passing an offering basket as we normally would. But please check out our website for ways to donate, and we are grateful.
Okay. So we now invite you to stand up, and we will open our hearts and minds in gratitude as we close by speaking out loud or silently our prayer, our love offering prayer.
And it's on the screen. Divine love
in me and through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
And we'll finish with the peace song and the prayer for protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
I am light. I am love. I am power. I am presence. I am divine.